Many are called, but few are chosen. Matthew chapter 22, verse 14. If you found your way to this video, it's not by accident. There are no coincidences for the chosen ones. You were LED here, drawn to this message because you already know there's something different about you. You've always felt it, haven't you? A sense of responsibility, a weight on your shoulders that others don't seem to carry. You may not have always understood it, but deep down you've known you are meant for more. This video is not for everyone. No, this is dedicated to the chosen ones, the rare souls with a divine mission on this earth. If you're not one of the chosen, you might as well turn back now. The truths revealed here will only resonate with those who have been set apart by a higher calling. For the rest, these words will fall flat. But for you, the chosen, they will be like keys unlocking doors that were always meant to open for you. If this message is already stirring something in your spirit, drop 777 in the comments. Let me know you're here, that you're listening, and that you recognize this call on your life. And there's one secret I'll share at the very end. It's what turned angels into enemies. It's what silences heaven without warning. And it's the very thing that can destroy your divine connection in an instant, before you even realize what's happening. Without mastering this final secret, none of the others will matter. Now, let's dive into the secrets that you must keep to protect yourself, each one building toward that final, most crucial protection that we'll reveal at the end. Secret 10. Protect your spiritual insights. Your spiritual insights are sacred. Not every revelation you receive is meant to be shared openly, especially not with those who are spiritually blind. As a chosen one, you will be given wisdom and understanding that others might find confusing or even laughable. This is not because you're wrong, it's because they are not yet ready to understand what has been revealed to you. Think of the prophets throughout history. They often spoke in parables or kept certain revelations hidden until the time was right. Why? Because they knew the weight of what they carried. Sharing these divine insights prematurely or with the wrong people could lead to ridicule, persecution, and even spiritual attack. You need to treat your spiritual revelations like a treasure. They are not for casual conversation or for satisfying someone else's curiosity. Your insights are gifts from the divine, meant to guide you and strengthen you for your journey. If you've ever felt misunderstood after sharing something deep and spiritual, this is why. The world isn't ready for everything you know. The path of the chosen is not an easy one, and part of that difficulty comes from carrying knowledge that others are not yet ready to understand. But that's okay. You're not here to convince everyone. You're here to fulfill your mission, and part of that mission is knowing when to stay silent. And this leads us to our next secret, one that protects not just your insights, but your heart itself. Secret 9. Keep your vulnerabilities hidden. The second secret you must keep as a chosen one is your vulnerabilities. Yes, even the chosen ones have weaknesses. You may be divinely guided, but you are still human, and humans are prone to moments of doubt, fear, and exhaustion. These vulnerabilities, however, should not be exposed to everyone. Why? Because not everyone will offer you compassion. In fact, many will use your moments of weakness to attack you spiritually or emotionally. We live in a world where energy is currency, and when you show vulnerability to the wrong people, you open yourself up to being drained. Spiritual parasites exist, and they are drawn to the light of the chosen ones, not because they appreciate it, but because they seek to extinguish it. Have you noticed how sharing your doubts with certain people leaves you feeling even more depleted? It's not coincidence. The enemy knows that if he can't attack your gifts directly, he'll attack your confidence in using them. You must be discerning about who you trust with your heart. The world is full of people who will appear supportive to your face, only to speak against you behind your back. These are the people who, if they know where your cracks are, will exploit them. I'm not saying you should hide your humanity altogether. No, we all need moments of connection, and we all need trusted individuals who can see us at our most vulnerable and still offer love and support. But those individuals are few and far between. Don't give your heart away freely. Consider Jesus in his final hours. He didn't expose his fears and anguish to the crowd. He brought only his closest disciples with him to the Garden of Gethsemane. Even then, he understood the importance of privacy in his most vulnerable moments. Learn from this. Share your struggles with those who have proven themselves to be worthy, but keep your inner sanctum guarded against those who would use your pain for their own gain. As we move deeper into these secrets, remember, we're building toward the most important one, the secret that, if neglected, can destroy everything else. Every protection we're building now leads to guarding against that final, most dangerous pitfall. Secret 8. Guard your energy like a sacred flame. Let's talk about your energy. Have you ever noticed how people seem drawn to you, as if they can sense there's something different about you? It's because, as a chosen one, your energy radiates differently. You carry a light within you that others may not fully understand, but they feel it. This is both a blessing and a burden. Your energy is your spiritual currency. It is the fuel that powers your divine mission. But here's the thing. There are people out there, and even spiritual entities, that will seek to drain you of this energy. These are the people who always seem to need something from you, but offer nothing in return. The ones who come to you with their problems, their negativity, and their drama, all the while pulling from your spiritual reserves. They see the light in you, and instead of being inspired to seek their own, they attempt to siphon yours. It's no accident that you feel drained after certain interactions. That's not your imagination, it's your spirit telling you that your energy is being depleted by someone who does not have your best interests at heart. Now understand this, you are not obligated to pour into everyone. Yes, you are called to serve, but you must also be discerning. Not everyone who seeks your energy is deserving of it. Some are only there to consume, to take, and to leave you empty. How do you guard your energy? First, recognize when you're being drained. Pay attention to your body, your emotions, and your spirit. When you feel that heavy, exhausted sensation after being around someone, that's a sign. The divine has given you the gift of intuition for a reason. Trust it. Second, practice the art of saying no. As a chosen one, you are often inclined to help, to heal, to guide. That's part of your nature. But remember, even healers need rest. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Saying no doesn't make you selfish, it makes you wise. Third, be selective about who you allow into your inner circle. Not everyone deserves access to your presence, to your energy. The people you keep closest to you should be those who lift you up, who energize you, and who understand the sacredness of your spiritual path. Remember, Jesus himself was selective about who he spent his time with. He did not give himself fully to everyone he encountered. He had his disciples, his closest circle, and even within that there were levels of intimacy and trust. Learn from this example. As we continue this journey through the secrets of protection, I want you to notice how depleted energy creates vulnerability. And this vulnerability, this weakened state, is often where that final, most dangerous threat can take root. Your energy must be guarded to prevent what will reveal at the end. Secret 7. Keep your presence sacred. Now let's go deeper. Beyond your energy, let's talk about your presence, your very being. The essence of who you are is sacred. This isn't just about the energy you give, but the space you occupy in this world. Your presence carries a weight, a divine purpose, and as a chosen one, you must understand the power of that presence. Have you ever entered a room and felt the atmosphere shift? Or maybe you've spoken a few words and suddenly everyone's attention is on you? That's because your presence is magnetic. Whether you realize it or not, you carry an aura that affects the spaces you enter. This is not by accident. It's part of your calling. But with great presence comes great responsibility. Not everyone is worthy of sharing space with you. Now, that might sound harsh, but it's the truth. As a chosen one, you have been set apart for a higher purpose, and not everyone can handle that. Some people will be intimidated by your presence, some will be envious, and others will try to diminish your light because it threatens their own sense of self. How do you protect your presence? First, be mindful of the environments you place yourself in. Certain places carry negative energy, and as a chosen one, you are more sensitive to these energies than most. Walking into an environment filled with hostility, jealousy, or spiritual darkness can affect you deeply. Second, understand that your presence is a gift. Not everyone deserves to bask in it. This is not about arrogance. It's about protecting the sacredness of who you are. You wouldn't throw a priceless treasure into the mud, so why would you place your sacred presence in environments or relationships that diminish your light? Third, embrace the power of solitude. As a chosen one, there will be times when you need to retreat from the world, to recharge, to reconnect with the divine, and to protect your presence from being overexposed. Solitude is not loneliness, it's a form of spiritual preservation. When you withdraw, you allow your spirit to renew itself, to receive fresh revelations, and to strengthen for the journey ahead. Don't be afraid to take time for yourself. In fact, it is essential. Consider how often Jesus would withdraw from the crowds to be alone in prayer. He understood the importance of solitude in maintaining his spiritual strength and connection to the Father. If he needed that time, how much more do we? Your presence is powerful, but it also needs protection and renewal. Solitude is the key to that renewal. Chosen ones, your energy and your presence are your most valuable assets. They are the foundation of your spiritual power, your mission, and your ability to impact the world. But they are also fragile if left unprotected. As we move toward the middle of our secrets, let me remind you, the most dangerous threat to your calling isn't external. It grows silently within, and we're getting closer to revealing what it is. Secret 6. The power of silence. As a chosen one, silence is one of your greatest allies. In a world that thrives on noise where everyone wants to be heard, there is immense power in holding your tongue. Now, this doesn't mean living in constant secrecy or never speaking your truth. Rather, it means knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. There is a reason why the great spiritual masters of old often spoke very little. Silence holds a different energy, a divine energy. In silence, you communicate with the spiritual realm in ways that words cannot. Think about it. How often have you regretted words spoken in haste or out of frustration? Words are powerful. They create, they destroy, and they can never be taken back once released into the world. But silence is a space of reflection, of contemplation, and of gathering power. When you choose to remain silent, especially in moments when others expect you to react, you are harnessing control over your own energy. As a chosen one, there will be times when people will provoke you, question you, or challenge your spiritual path. In these moments, silence can be your greatest shield. When you refrain from responding to negativity or attempts to stir conflict, you preserve your energy and protect your peace. Not every battle is yours to fight, and sometimes the wisest course of action is to say nothing at all. You must adopt the same mindset. You don't need to justify yourself to those who do not understand your path. Let them speak, let them question, but choose silence as your response. In doing so, you maintain control over your own spiritual energy. The danger of neglecting this secret is significant. When you speak without discernment, when you react rather than respond, you open doors to energies that can cloud your spiritual vision. And this cloudiness, this spiritual interference, is what allows the most dangerous threat to your calling to take root. That's why mastering silence now is critical to preventing what we'll discuss in our final secret. Let's move deeper into the protection of your chosen path. Secret 5. The art of discretion. Discretion goes hand in hand with silence, but it operates on a different level. Discretion is about knowing what to reveal and what to withhold. As a chosen one, there are aspects of your life, your spiritual path, and your mission that must remain hidden. This isn't about living in fear or secrecy. It's about understanding that not everything is meant to be shared. We live in a world obsessed with oversharing. Social media, constant communication, and the need for validation have led many to reveal every detail of their lives to the public. But for the chosen ones, this is dangerous. Your spiritual journey is sacred, and not everyone is meant to witness it. Have you noticed how after sharing something precious from your spiritual walk, it sometimes loses its power? That's because pearls aren't meant to be scattered. They're meant to be treasured, protected, and shared only with those who recognize their value. Discretion protects you from unnecessary spiritual attacks. When you reveal too much about yourself, your plans, your struggles, your victories, you open the door for others to interfere in your journey. Some will do so out of jealousy, others out of malice, and some without even realizing the harm they cause. Think of your spiritual path like a delicate plant. It needs time to grow, to develop roots, and to strengthen before it can withstand the elements. If you expose it too soon, it becomes vulnerable to the wind, the rain, and even those who may step on it unknowingly. Discretion is particularly important when it comes to your spiritual progress. As you grow, you will experience revelations, breakthroughs, and moments of divine clarity. These are precious gifts meant to strengthen you and guide you on your path. But not everyone is ready to hear or understand what you've been given. Sharing these revelations prematurely can lead to misunderstanding, mockery, or even spiritual attack. The enemy, both in the physical and spiritual realms, thrives on information. The more they know about your journey, your weaknesses, and your plans, the easier it is for them to disrupt your progress. Finally, let's talk about the power of moving in silence. This means making decisions, working on projects, and making progress in your spiritual journey without announcing your every move. There is immense power in silence because it allows you to build without distraction, interference, or unnecessary scrutiny. When you move in silence, you give yourself the space to grow without the pressure of outside opinions or expectations. You can focus solely on your mission and your connection to the divine. And when the time comes to reveal the fruits of your labor, the impact will be undeniable. Chosen ones, silence and discretion are your spiritual armor in a world that thrives on noise and oversharing. You must walk a different path. Choose your words carefully, protect your spiritual progress, and be discerning about who you allow into your inner circle. We're now halfway through our secrets, and the protection around your spirit is building. But remember, we're heading toward that final, most dangerous pitfall. The one that doesn't just delay your calling, but can completely derail it. Stay with me. Secret 4. Master your emotions. Emotions are part of the human experience. Even as a chosen one, you will experience the full spectrum of emotions: joy, sorrow, anger, love, frustration. But here's where your path differs from others. You cannot afford to let your emotions control you. To be effective in your mission, you must learn to master them. The key to mastering your emotions is not to suppress them, but to understand them. You must know where they come from, why they arise, and how to channel them in a way that serves your purpose rather than disrupts it. Why is emotional mastery so important? Because as a chosen one, you are a spiritual warrior, and like any warrior, you must remain calm and focused, even in the heat of battle. When emotions take over, you lose control. Your judgment becomes clouded, and your ability to make wise decisions diminishes. Think about the story of Moses. Even after leading his people out of Egypt, he struggled with his emotions. In a moment of frustration, he struck the rock instead of speaking to it as God had instructed. This act of anger cost him the chance to enter the Promised Land. Numbers 27:12-14. And this emotional mastery? It's directly connected to our final secret, because unmastered emotions create the perfect breeding ground for the most dangerous spiritual poison, the one that turned angels into enemies. Mastering your emotions begins with self-awareness. You must become attuned to your inner world. When you feel anger rising, when sadness begins to overwhelm you, or when anxiety creeps in, pause. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this? What is the root of this emotion? Next, practice emotional regulation. This is the ability to manage your emotions in a healthy and productive way. It's about responding rather than reacting. When you feel a strong emotion, don't act on it immediately. Take a moment to breathe, to center yourself, and to ask, what is the wisest course of action? Remember that emotional mastery does not mean you ignore or suppress your emotions. In fact, doing so can be dangerous. Suppressed emotions don't disappear. They fester and eventually explode. Instead, acknowledge your feelings, but don't let them dictate your actions. You are the master of your emotions, not the other way around. Your emotions can also be a source of power if channeled correctly. When you experience righteous anger, for example, it can be used to fuel positive change. Anger over injustice can lead to action that brings about spiritual or social transformation. Likewise, sorrow can lead to compassion, motivating you to heal and uplift others who are suffering. The key is to use your emotions as a tool, not a master. When you feel a strong emotion, ask yourself how you can channel it into something productive. By transforming your emotions into spiritual power, you stay in control of your journey and remain aligned with your divine mission. As we move deeper, let's remember, emotional mastery isn't just about self-control. It's about preventing the silent growth of something far more destructive, the subject of our final secret. When emotions run unchecked, they create blind spots where spiritual poison can take root without detection. Secret 3. Maintaining balance in all things. Balance is the cornerstone of a chosen one's life. Without balance, even the most powerful spiritual warrior can fall. Balance is what keeps you grounded, what allows you to walk the fine line between the spiritual and the physical worlds without losing yourself in either. But maintaining balance in today's chaotic world is not easy. You are constantly pulled in different directions: work, relationships, responsibilities, and of course your spiritual path. If you are not careful, you can find yourself overwhelmed, burnt out, or disconnected from your higher purpose. And this imbalance doesn't just threaten your well-being, it creates the perfect conditions for our final, most dangerous secret to flourish. When you're out of balance, your spiritual defenses weaken, and that's when the enemy strikes most effectively. First, prioritize your spiritual life. As a chosen one, your spiritual connection is the foundation of everything you do. Without it, you will lose your sense of direction and purpose. No matter how busy life gets, make time each day for spiritual practices, prayer, meditation, reflection, or simply sitting in silence. Second, practice self-care. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Your physical, mental, and emotional well-being are just as important as your spiritual health. Take care of your body through proper nutrition, rest, and exercise. Remember, balance is about taking care of the whole self, not just the spiritual aspect. Third, learn to say no. As a chosen one, people will naturally gravitate toward you, seeking your guidance, your light, your energy. While it's part of your mission to help and uplift others, you must also protect yourself from being overextended. You are not responsible for everyone's healing, and you cannot solve everyone's problems. Fourth, cultivate a balanced mindset. This means avoiding extremes of any kind. Extremes, whether in emotion, behavior, or belief, can lead to imbalance. Stay grounded. Seek wisdom from both spiritual and practical sources. Remember that you are living in both the spiritual and physical worlds, and each has its place in your journey. Balance is especially important in your relationships. As a chosen one, your relationships can either strengthen or weaken your spiritual path. Surround yourself with people who support your growth, who understand the importance of your mission, and who bring positivity into your life. At the same time, distance yourself from those who drain your energy or pull you away from your higher purpose. However, balance doesn't mean cutting off all relationships with those who are struggling or in need. It means knowing how much of yourself to give and when to step back to recharge. You are not called to be a martyr for everyone's issues, but you are called to be a light. Balance allows you to fulfill that role without losing yourself in the process. Lastly, balance your time between solitude and connection. As we discussed earlier, solitude is vital for your spiritual renewal. It is in these quiet moments that you receive guidance, strength, and clarity from the divine. But equally important is your connection with others. As a chosen one, you are here to guide, inspire, and uplift. This requires interaction with the world around you. We're now approaching our most crucial secrets. The ones that, if mastered, will provide the strongest protection against what we'll reveal as the greatest threat to your calling. Stay with me. We're getting closer to that final revelation. Secret 2. Protect your spirit from negative energies and attacks. As a chosen one, you are more spiritually sensitive than most. You can feel the subtle energies around you, the vibrations of people, places, and situations. This heightened sensitivity is a gift, but it also makes you more susceptible to negative energies and spiritual attacks. Spiritual attacks, whether they come from people, environments, or unseen forces, are real. They can manifest as emotional exhaustion, confusion, doubt, fear, or even physical illness. That's why spiritual protection is crucial for your well-being and your ability to carry out your mission. And these attacks? They're often designed to create openings for that final, most dangerous threat we've been building toward. The enemy knows he can't take down the chosen directly, so he creates vulnerabilities that allow the most destructive force to grow from within. First, maintain a strong connection to the divine. Your relationship with the Creator, with God, is your ultimate source of protection. When you are in tune with the divine, you receive guidance, clarity, and a shield of spiritual protection. This connection is like a fortress around your spirit, shielding you from the negativity and darkness that seek to harm you. Second, use spiritual tools to enhance your protection. These tools might include prayer, affirmations, protective symbols, or even the simple act of calling on divine assistance. One of the most powerful prayers for protection is the Lord's Prayer, which Jesus gave us as a shield against evil. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Matthew 6:13. Third, cleanse your energy regularly. Just as your physical body needs to be cleansed, so does your spirit. Negative energies can attach themselves to you from your surroundings, from toxic people, or from stressful situations. Spiritual cleansing helps you release these negative energies and return to a state of spiritual purity. Not every challenge you face is a spiritual attack, but as a chosen one, you must be aware of the signs. Spiritual attacks often manifest as overwhelming feelings of fear, doubt, or confusion. You may feel disconnected from your purpose or from the divine, and things that normally inspire you may suddenly feel meaningless. You may also experience unusual conflict in your relationships, a sense of heaviness or recurring negative thoughts. When you recognize these signs, don't panic. Understand that this is an attempt to pull you off your path. It's in these moments that spiritual protection becomes even more important. Pray for guidance, ask for divine assistance, and surround yourself with protective energy. Do not give in to fear, for fear is the enemy's most effective tool. Instead, stand firm in your faith and your connection to the divine. And now, we've arrived at our final and most critical secret, the one that, if neglected, makes all other protection meaningless. The secret that turned angels into enemies and has silenced the most powerful spiritual voices throughout history. Secret 1. Maintain an unshakable connection to the divine while guarding against pride. The final secret is the foundation of all the others. Maintaining an unshakable connection to the divine while guarding against the silent poison of spiritual pride. Without this connection and vigilance, none of the other secrets will hold. This connection is your lifeline. It is the source of your wisdom, your protection, and your power as a chosen one. This is the secret that turned angels into enemies. This is what silences heaven without warning. And it's what can destroy your divine connection in an instant, before you even realize what's happening. First and foremost, make time for daily communion with the divine. Whether you call it prayer, meditation, or reflection, this time is sacred. It's when you align yourself with the higher forces guiding your life. It's when you receive the messages, insights, and direction that will help you fulfill your mission. Many chosen ones fall into the trap of busyness. The demands of the world, work, relationships, responsibilities, can distract you from your spiritual practice. But let me be clear, neglecting your connection to the divine is the most dangerous thing you can do. When you are disconnected, you become vulnerable to the chaos of the world. You lose sight of your purpose, and you weaken your spiritual protection. Even Jesus, in the midst of his ministry, would often withdraw to solitary places to pray. Luke 5:16. He understood that his strength came from his connection to the Father. If Jesus needed that time to recharge, how much more do we? As a chosen one, you must prioritize this connection above all else. But here's what many chosen ones fail to realize. The greatest threat to your divine connection isn't external attack. It's internal corruption. It's the subtle, almost imperceptible growth of spiritual pride. Pride doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive declaring, "I am pride." No, it comes wrapped in gifting, in anointing, in the applause of others. It whispers things like, "Look how spiritual you are. Look at how God uses you. You're not like the others." And that's why it's so dangerous. Because the moment you begin to believe that you are special because of your gifts, rather than recognizing them as sacred assignments from the divine, you've opened the door to pride. Think about Lucifer. He was the most beautiful, most gifted angel in heaven, but his gifts became his downfall when he began to see them as his own, rather than reflections of his Creator. That same pattern has destroyed countless chosen ones throughout history. The scripture warns, God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble, James 4:6. Notice it doesn't say God tolerates the proud. It doesn't say he works around pride. It says he actively resists it, even in his chosen vessels. When you allow pride to take root in your spirit, you create a barrier between yourself and divine grace. You may still have the gifts. You may still have the platform. You may even still speak words of power, but the anointing begins to withdraw, often so subtly you don't notice until it's too late. Signs of spiritual pride infiltrating your spirit. First, you start to depend more on your gift than on your connection to the giver. Prayer becomes shorter, more perfunctory. You might think, "I already know what to do," instead of seeking divine guidance. Second, criticism bothers you more than it should. When someone questions your insight or direction, rather than considering their perspective, you feel offended or defensive. You equate questions about your message with questioning God Himself. Third, you begin to separate yourself from others. Not for spiritual renewal, but because you see yourself as more spiritual, more anointed, or more chosen than they are. You create distance because in your heart, you believe others can't truly understand your level of calling. Fourth, your focus shifts from serving to being seen. Your satisfaction comes more from recognition of your gift than from knowing you've fulfilled divine purpose. The quiet, unseen works become less appealing than those that bring attention. These are the warning signs, and if you recognize any of them in yourself, now is the time for honest self-examination and spiritual correction. Another aspect of strengthening your connection to the divine while guarding against pride is learning how to listen. Often, we approach prayer or meditation as a one-sided conversation. We speak, we ask for guidance, but we forget to listen. The divine is always speaking to us, through our intuition, through signs, through circumstances, but we must be attuned to hear it. Spiritual listening requires stillness. It requires quieting the noise of the world and the noise in your mind. When you learn to listen, you'll find that the answers to your questions are often already within you. The divine speaks through your intuition, through that still small voice that nudges you in the right direction. But you must be willing to listen. And here's a critical truth. The voice of the divine never contradicts the heart of the divine. If what you're hearing leads to pride, separation, or judgment of others, that's not divine guidance. That's ego masquerading as spiritual insight. You've stayed with me until the end, and that tells me something. You recognize the call on your life. You understand that being chosen isn't just about the gifts, the light, or the divine connection. It's about responsibility. It's about protection. It's about wisdom. The 10 secrets we've explored today are not just information. They are spiritual keys that will unlock new levels of protection and power in your life. From guarding your spiritual insights to maintaining an unshakable connection with the divine while battling pride, each secret serves a purpose in your journey as a chosen one. Let's be honest, that final secret? It's the one that most spiritual teachers don't want to talk about. Because acknowledging the danger of spiritual pride means we have to constantly examine our own hearts. But that self-examination is what keeps the channel clear between you and heaven. Remember, you're not walking this path by accident. You were chosen before the foundations of the earth were laid. Your life, your struggles, your victories, they're all part of a divine plan that is unfolding day by day. The enemy knows this, which is why you faced opposition. But greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. I want to hear from you now. If something in this message resonated with your spirit, if you felt that divine nudge that says, "This is for me," drop 777 in the comments below. This isn't just a number. It's a declaration. It's you saying, "I recognize my calling, and I'm ready to protect what God has placed within me." And if you're currently facing spiritual attacks or feeling disconnected from your purpose, I want you to declare this right now. I am divinely protected. I am divinely guided. My path is secured by forces greater than any opposition. I choose today to guard my spirit, to master my emotions, to walk in balance, and to maintain an unshakable connection to the divine. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. My light will not be dimmed. My purpose will not be derailed. I am chosen, and I embrace the responsibility that comes with that calling. Say this out loud. Let these words penetrate your spirit. Let them become your truth. If this video has blessed you, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below, and let's continue to build a community of like-minded souls dedicated to spiritual growth and personal development.